The next department we're going to talk about is capital projects. It is unique. I think we have a couple of departments or funds, but this fund does not have any employees. It is where our capital projects for the county are housed. Particularly the courthouse expenditures are all ran through the capital projects. Last year, or this current year, we had a budget of $17.5 million. Next year, we have a budget of $22.3 million. A lot of that, as you can see, is from the primary revenue sources, beginning balance of $7.5 million. That's a lot of that is carryover. That was dollars that were identified for the courthouse projects, and as the work continues, the payments lag. Those are a lot of carryover dollars that are dedicated to the courthouse. General fund is our major support of the projects that are done in this capital projects. And so you'll see that as contributions of 8.6 additional general fund dollars. And then we have included here also is our state revenue reimbursement. So as we're paying our costs for the courthouse prep work, that will be reimbursed as we seek reimbursement, and we're looking for revenue of about $6.5 million to come in and offset those expenditures. For the first time, capital projects is going to be receiving cost allocation charges. As Sandra shared in our review and update to our cost allocation plan, we do have expenditures, demands on internal services with this fund. Even though there are no FTEs, we still have invoices to pay. We have accounts to reconcile, and so there is a lot of accounting work that goes into maintaining this capital projects fund. I did want to highlight some of the projects because I oversee this fund, so I thought I'd just take an extra minute to share some of those capital projects for the courthouse. Include the new loop road that's going on outside, heating and air system upgrades to our central utility plant, and we had that contract approved recently here at the county commissioner's office. And then also technology equipment is going into the courthouse, so those are some of the upcoming charges. Also in capital projects, we maintain our current assets. So it's not only for new capital projects, it's for ongoing. So we have the upgrade to our security campus, our campus security for employees and visitors, and that's budgeted about $400,000. We have an elevator replacement for the Stokes building at $160,000, and then also in our training center for the CCSO, the upgrades there have been delayed due to supply issues, and those are about $800,000. So there's a lot that goes in and out of this capital projects fund. The next department is facilities. So this is where our facilities management staff are housed, our maintenance, our services. If somebody needs a whiteboard hung up in their office, this is the department that would get that work order and then charge for those services. They had a budget last year of $17 million, 17.7. This year proposed is almost $16 million. Large reason for that change, the drop in budget, is we transferred $2 million in this current year to reserves in our capital projects. We are trying to build our own capital reserve fund for our assets, our county assets. Right now, we're paying on time. We're paying cash. So if something needs major repairs, we have to locate and identify those dollars. So we are actively trying to build a good, solid reserve for our current assets. So you'll see the primary resource or sources here, revenue sources. We have $100,000. This is the first time ever that we've needed to do this, and that is because we've moved our mailroom and courier services from finance into our facilities department. This better aligns with our lobby support staff and also our warehouse staff. And so that general fund dollars followed that department. Cost allocations is the big driver, 70%, almost $11 million, because like we were talking about earlier, we have these buildings that are maintained, and the maintenance, that is all out of our facilities department and the staff, and so that is paid through those cost allocations. And then the direct charge for other work. If somebody wants to remodel their office, that would be a direct charge. It's something we really plan for, and so that we would, like a business, we charge overhead, we charge contingency, labor, and supplies, and that falls under the direct charge revenue there. We did have reductions of $300,000 that we asked facilities to do, and so this is to lower the demand on allocations and any general fund needs. We used to have a revenue supplied from non-department, because we would charge our non-department for services that were over all of the county, and so now we are bringing that through cost allocations, but we asked facilities to reduce. So we did eliminate a building maintenance position, worked with the team to make sure that that wasn't detrimental to our maintenance, so we're going to make that work. We are reducing a courier position due to efficiencies following COVID. We feel that we can be more effective and efficient with our mailroom and courier services, and then some other minor reductions in material and services.
We have a couple of questions, and I just want to reiterate, was that one building maintenance position?
One.
And one courier position, or did you eliminate the courier service?
One courier and one maintenance.
All right, thank you so much. Commissioner Savas and then Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, this one here, I couldn't find it in the tab 12, I believe, or 13, and that is the state of cost in that industry right now, whether it's materials, lumber, HVAC, everything has gone up substantially. And I'm just wondering what we anticipate we're sacrificing by not recognizing the inflationary aspects, probably hit this department really high. So that's just a concern. And the other thing I want to express too is that those departments that have a lot of property are going to have a lot of exposure to that inflationary impact. So I don't know how that's going to factor in, and I don't know if we're losing ground on maintenance. That's just a concern that I've got in general. I don't have any prescription or don't have any criticism, but I'm just kind of concerned what that trends out to be and what that may look like if all those materials in that industry remain as high as they are.
Okay. Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, explain to me the elimination of the Clean Wind carbon offset purchases. What was that, and what was it being used for?
That is a great question, and I'd like to bring back more detail tomorrow for you. I'll have to talk with the team on that. I know it was a partnership, I believe, with PGE that we paid into, but let me get further detail for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And finally, on the internal services is technology services. This is where our all of our technology sits, our computers, our the internet, the access, our phones, how we communicate, and they do a terrific job. And their budget was reduced by $3 million. As you see there, this current year was $23.7 million. Our proposed budget is $20 million. Let's see here, I'll just follow through the revenues. Their beginning balance, that $2 million, that is a carryover for their reserves. They have to do, when they do a replacement, it's pretty significant, and so they do need to have reserves year over year. I know like 3 years ago, they did a major upgrade, I think, to web services, and it was like $3 million. So their reserves, they keep internal for their technology replacements. Cost allocations, same thing. They serve the county, and it's by department that they charge as for their specific drivers. That's 57%. And then they also have some direct optional services that they provide that they bill directly for, and that's the $6.6 million. This department did not receive any reductions as they were tightening their belt on other operating expenditures, and they don't have a general fund revenue source, so they were not given any reductions at this time.
So this is an example, Commissioners just allocated a week ago ARPA money for cybersecurity initiatives to this department. So that's not reflected here, but it will be. So that'll be, it was $1 million the board approved, which will be given to this department.
We have a couple of questions, Commissioner West and then Commissioner Schrader.
Thank you, Chair Parks. It says here that we see a $3 million reduction, but under reductions, we don't see any reductions. I'm just kind of curious, like, what am I looking at?
Thank you. Yeah, they had a decrease in their budget, so not a reduction. And so I wanted to share, too, that the change in that included that they did have some one-time capital costs, and I believe Lanu is here with us. She can speak to that. But they had capital cost expenditures, and they also reduced their material and services and their allocation charges. So they were able to reduce their budget as a whole.
So Commissioner West, they are not a general funded department. The list of reductions that you saw are from general funded offices only, and they are not. So
Okay,
this is
thank you.
separate.
Okay, Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, what, is there going to be effect on broadband expansion to rural areas and other areas of the county? That's been certainly a trend at the national level for every county across the nation. Are they still able to access external dollars from the federal government?
Absolutely, yes. So Commissioners, you also allocated $10 million of ARPA dollars to this department to work on broadband expansion and initiatives, so that is still happening, as well as our Clackamas Broadband Express or Exchange program still exists. We do receive federal and other sources of funding, and we'll continue searching for those dollars. So that initiative and that work continues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That concludes that last three sections. I'd like to suggest that we take a 15-minute recess, a break, 15-minute break, and then when we come back, we can start on the next five, which include assessment and taxation, disaster management, district attorney, juvenile, and sheriff. Would that work for you, sir?
I have a counter proposal. First, Chair, there are at least 3 members of the committee that will be departing for a lunch event, so can we confirm if you'd like to take a longer break, perhaps 11:15 to 1:30, in which case my proposal is we jump ahead to Health, Housing, Human Services, and Transportation and Development, bring them in at 10:45, and go till 11:15, 11:20, and then if you agree, we'll resume at 1:30. Give time to the members to come back from lunch, and then go with the rest of the afternoon schedule. Would that be acceptable?
Sure, that works. I appreciate that you've got the thought on that, so thank you. Yeah, let's move forward then with those next couple.
So a break until 10:45, and then Elizabeth, would you please let H3S and DTD know they're up?